Good day, viewers. This time around, we are going to be looking at subjunctive in the English language. Okay, uh, the definition of subjunctive will not be of relevance to us if we cram it and then we don't know how to make use of it. So the application really matters a lot. So I want us to come out with a definition from different sentences we are going to construct in order to illustrate what subjunctive is all about. Okay, uh, in the first case, we ought to learn something while we were younger, there were no chance to learn them. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, I will categorize this as a wish. What I wish I had learned in the past. Okay, presently, I wish I had some things, but I don't actually have them. How do I express this? So, in these scenarios, the times of actions have to be ascertained first of all. Okay, we have to know, are we dealing with the present time, future time, or past time? Okay, the times are going to be divided into three in this subjunctive. We have the present time, the future time, and the past time. Okay, what is the tense to be used in the present form? We're going to be using past tense, even when we are talking about uh, present form. If we are talking about the future form, future action, rather, we're going to be using past tense form of verb. Okay, and if it is past tense, past action, we're going to be using past perfect tense. Okay, from this brief discussion, if we were now asked what is subjunctive, okay, we may want to come up with a definition like subjunctive are forms of verbs that are used to express wishes, hopes, uh, uncertainties, things that are not certain, and then even certainty in the future time or possibility or any imagined situation that we find ourselves. We are going to be using subjunctive to express ourselves. So, once again, subjunctives are forms of verbs that are used to express wishes, hopes, uncertainty, possibility, or any imagined situation. Just imagine something. I wish I had this. How do we express that? I would rather, in the future time, I would rather what? Will you say I would rather go or I would rather went? Which is correct? That's what we are dealing with in this lesson. Okay, there are three major rules we should take note of. The first one is we have to ascertain the time of actions. In these three rules I'm going to give to us, I have briefly talked about them before, but now I'm restating them. We have present action. If you are dealing with present action, we're going to be using past tense form of verb. And if we are dealing with future action, we are going to be using past tense as well. Okay, but if we are dealing with past action, we'll be using past perfect tense. We'll be using past perfect tense. Okay, this can be categorized into two majorly. In these rules, I said for the future and present action, we'll be using past tense. And for the past action, we are going to be using past perfect tense. Okay, this is clearly written on the board. Okay, okay, I didn't even write it. I thought I stated them. Now, these are some of the verbs that are under subjunctive or that are used to express our moods, wishes, and then whether certainty, uncertainty, or possibility, and every other condition we have stated. Okay, the first one is it is time. When we say it is time, You might be doing something currently and you wish you stopped that thing. You are doing something right now, that's the present time. So I said you are going to use past tense form of verb. So it is time we left. It is time we left. It is going to be wrong to say it is time we leave. No, it is time we left because the action is present. We are going to use past form because it is a wish. You wish you had done the thing, but you have not actually done it. Then you will still use past tense form of verb. It is time we left. It is high time we left. Okay. The second one is as if. As if you are having a conversation with somebody who could be your maybe son or daughter, but the person has been so rude in the discussion. You could say to the person, "You were talking to me as if I were your mates or I were your age mate. You were talking to me as if I were your age mate. As if I were, as if I were." It's going to be past form. Okay. The next one is wish. I stated this at the beginning of the class. There are certain things we wish to have, but we don't have them. We say, "I wish I had a pen." I wish I had a pen. That's going to be grammatically correct. As against, "I wish I have a pen." No. You may be thinking, "I don't have it. Why should I use past?" It's going to be past because you don't still have it. Okay? You don't still have it in the present. Okay, so the time when you now have it and we are referencing the time, it's going to be past. So you say, "I wish I had a pen." Okay, I would rather go. I would rather go, or I would rather we went. If a pronoun should come in between this, it's going to be "I would rather we went." If there is no pronoun, you say "I would rather go." Okay. Now the next is if only. If only. I will do that. If only you could do it. I will do that if only you could do it. You could, if only you could, not you can. Okay. And lastly, supposing you have written the notes, or supposing you had written the notes. Okay. So these are some of the verbs that are used in order to express subjunctive. So for more clarity, I have put illustrative sentences on the board for us to peruse, and then the first is under the present, like I illustrated. It is time you went. It is time we stopped writing the notes. Okay? We will not put "it is time you start writing the notes." No, it's going to be "it is time you started writing the notes." It's going to be in past form. The next is "it is time to go." Now this is an exemption. We have to take note of this. This is an exemption. Exemption in the sense that the preposition "to" is attached to this verb. It is time to go. To go is an infinitive, so it's going to be present. To go, to jump, to dance, to stop, to teach. It's never going to be past. Yeah, so we have "it is time to go." It is time to stop. The next, "I wish I had a car." You say wishful thinking. You wish you had something. You are going to say, "I wish I had a car." I wish I had a car. It's going to be "had" because you wish but you don't. I wish to. This is another exemption to this. Exemption of this is this: I wish to have. Once you have this preposition, this will be present. I wish to have a car. I wish I had. There is no preposition, rather a pronoun. When there is a pronoun here, you use the past. There is a pronoun here, we use the past. When there is no pronoun, we have the preposition, use the present form of it. Okay, that is that about the present form of it. Now to the future time, a time to come, we have what we call auxiliary verbs, and auxiliary verbs are many. We know the list of them, like is, are, was, were, and the rest of them. Okay, so the next ones we are looking at are the modal auxiliary verbs. For the modal auxiliary verbs, we have the present form of it and we have the past form of it. Okay, so if we have, for instance, can is an example of modal auxiliary verb. It's going to turn to could in the past form, and then we can have may. May is going to become might. Likewise, we can have will. Will is going to become would. And then another common one is shall. Shall is going to become should. These are past forms. These are present forms. We don't have business with this. Okay? We have business with this. Okay, now in the future time, we're going to be using this. Okay, I would rather, would, we are making use of this. I would rather, it's also called a special structure in some grammar books. I would rather you spoke with the proprietor. I would rather you spoke. You spoke. Past tense, take note. For future, past. I would rather do it. Yes, there is no pronoun here. I would rather you did it. But now there is no pronoun. I would rather you do it. I would rather do it alone. We should take note of this. This is an exemption to this case. When the pronoun is in between, so we turn this to past. When there is no pronoun, it remains in the present form. And lastly, the past form of it. So we said at the beginning of the class that if the time of an action is in the past, we are going to use past perfect tense. Okay? What do we understand by past perfect tense? We use this tense when an action is going on and another one interrupts it. Another one comes up. I am teaching right now and something happens, we are going to use either present perfect tense or past perfect tense to express that situation. Okay, what am I talking about? To know our perfect tense, we have to get acquainted with our participles. How do we learn participles? Okay, if we have, for instance, run, the past form is ran, and the third stage of it is going to be run. Run, ran, run. That is what? That is the participle. The third one is the participle form of this. Okay, if we have write, for instance, write, the past form is going to be wrote, and the past participle is going to be written. So the written is the past participle form that we are going to be making use of under this past, because we said we are using past perfect tense. Okay, now to the sentences. I wish he had written his will before he died. I wish he had written his will before he died. Somebody has died here, and then that's making the situation to be past, and we are talking about it now. Look at it, he died. Then we said, I wish he had written. Had written, this is the past participle I'm talking about, and this is indicating the past tense form of it. Okay, I wish he had written his will before he died. This is correct. Okay, I wish he had seen the notes in time. How I wish he had seen the notes in time. Had seen, the past form. I wish I had learned how to swim while I was what? While I was younger. Okay, so that is that about the past form of it. And then something related to this is had better. It's a phrase, but it should not be confused with subjunctive because we don't use it to express wish. It is often used when we are talking about it's related to command or imperative sentence rather. So when we have something like this, you had better write to him, it's like a command or imperative sentence, but I will support it as a command. You had better write to him, but a polite way of commanding somebody or advice. You had better do what he recommended. You had better do what he recommended. Recommended is not our business. Our verb, the verb do is our business here. So we have come to the end of the class for subjunctive. Okay, so if there is any question in line with this discussion, you can put it in the comment section below. So we hope to see you in our next video. Thanks.